Hello, this is Limitless Education Group. Welcome to the channel. My name is Jude Poku, and we have my lovely wife, Sandra Poku. And this video is about what we stand for, who we are, why we are, where we're going. All right, this video, this channel, this group is for those of you that value freedom, security, and choice in a rapidly changing. So that's who this is for. So let me talk a moment about who this is not for. This is not for you if you think that school is education. Babe, what else do you think?
So this channel is not for you if you think a man can be a woman and a woman can be a man.
This channel is not for you if you think job security equals financial security.
This channel is not for you if you are a feminist.
This channel is not for you if you think school is nothing more than a daycare.
And this channel is not for you if you think that Black people are oppressed.
This channel is definitely not for you if you think that money is the root of all evil.
Okay, and definitely this channel is not for you if you believe in God.
The purpose of Limitless Education Group is clear. We create geniuses who are going to lead the world in what is best for all.
Yeah, as your host, we are here to share with you our journey as how we are aligned in purpose and committed to fulfill our destiny, which is create a world that's best for all.
This channel is about us and how we're sharing our journey and how we're preparing both ourselves and our children to have a principled education so that they can be able to do what is best for all.
Within that, our purpose is also to support parents around the globe to give to their children a principled education within what's best for all.
So I'd like to share with you a short story. Right? How we got here, who we are, and like how we really developed ourselves to this point and are continuing to develop. For me, it started, a few years back after really right during the pandemic time, even actually a little bit before that. So my whole journey started when I was in university, right? During university, my older brother was actually a dean at different charter schools in Brooklyn, in New York. Every summer after college, I would come back down to New York and support him in doing professional development for teachers, which is teaching teachers how to teach, right? But every year I came back, I realized that the standards, the test scores for these schools weren't actually improving. So that was the first seed that was planted within me of, okay, what's happening in education? How come we're putting in all this work over the summer to get these teachers prepared, but nothing is moving the needle for these schools? And test scores is just how they measure the schools by, right? So after I graduated, moved abroad to Beijing, China, right? Where I was a private tutor, education consultant. I was helping families, the top families in the country, top students in the country. And you can even say at that point, they were some of the top kids in the world, right? And helping them apply to private schools, which were private boarding schools and private universities in the US, UK, Canada, Australia, the Western world. And with those kids, I started to notice because they would write me back saying that they were having trouble adapting to the new environments. They were having trouble being flexible and, learning new things when they got into their Western world. And so that was a second seed that was planted within me of, okay, what is really happening here in education? How come even the top students in the country, in the world, are showing the same problems that I was seeing over in Brooklyn? So I began to realize it didn't matter if you're from Brooklyn, Beijing, Berlin, Bangkok,
Africa,
all
Cameroon,
Benin, right? All people, all students were having the same fundamental problem in their learning, in their education. So long story short, pandemic happened. I thought I was going to live the rest of my life in China, right? But pandemic happened, brought me back to the United States. And when I got back, because I thought I was going to live the rest of my life in China, I fell into this, dark downward spiral, depression, anxiety, nihilism, existentialism, all the isms, because I really didn't know what I was going to do with myself in my life anymore, right? I had no real direction, no real purpose. And, during that time, I'd always been into like having a glimmer of self-development and wanting more for myself. And so I started reading a lot, got into books like, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich.
the classic.
The classics. I'm sure you might have heard of some of these titles. And I was using what I learned in those books to try and build. I was doing music for some time, right? I was an artist, producer, DJ, and was using what I read in these books to start my path into entrepreneurship and business, right? And so was doing okay. I mean, that you can say okay, but I felt like I was doing okay. But if you look at the numbers, man, I was struggling, right?
The numbers, they never lie.
I was struggling. Still living with my parents, still in my mom's basement, right? Even though in my mind, I thought I was about to be like the next Kanye West, right? So that's the dichotomy between reality and where you're at in your mind. And so things did not get any better, even though I was putting in all this hard work. So you could say I was grinding, but life wasn't changing. So that led me to again, look at, okay, why is this happening? How come I'm learning, I'm studying the material, trying to take action, but nothing is shifting? So again, I've always been into looking at ways to develop myself, change myself, finding processes to take myself to the next level. And I really got so far down, so far depressed while nothing was changing that I was on the brink of suicide, right? I was ready to just kind of spend all the last money that I had and find some way to just make that pain end, because I was trying so hard but nothing changed. Fortunately, I had stumbled upon, got invited to a group where they're very much into self-development, and I was introduced to a set of tools that supported me to start taking education back into my own hands. After having a conversation with some of the people in this group, they shared with me that even though I had the hustle, the ambition, the grind, the desire, what was missing was that educational component. Because the problem is, in school never really teaches you what it takes to build a business, to be an entrepreneur, to create the life that you really want. And so even though you may have, or I had, those traits, I didn't have the foundation set. So I started, walking this process. I started taking education into my own hands, taking responsibility, and reteaching myself how to actually be a active, responsible member of society, right? How to start thinking outside the box, creative thinking, critical thinking. In a short period of time, I actually got invited into a proper entrepreneurship program being run in Manhattan, right? With one of the top top Fortune 500 companies in the country. Because of the process I'd walked, because of the way I'd been able to relearn, re-educate, teach myself, right? Reprogram essentially, and remove my limitations, I ended up becoming one of the top people in the country. Right. So at that point, I was like, okay, everything else I had tried only brought me to a glass ceiling, but this was actually process to be able to break through that ceiling and fundamentally change how I operated in the world, right? Change my operating system. So at that point, I realized, hey, all the other stuff I was doing, it didn't really make sense anymore. It didn't matter, because if now I'm not able to support, if now I'm able to support myself to change my foundation, everybody needs something like this. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs a way to be able to change their foundation so that they can actually rise and be the top version of themselves. So that's how I started walking this process. And fortunately, I continued the process, and through this same process, through being able to change myself, grow myself, I met my lovely wife, right? Because like attracts like, right? Real recognize real. Okay. So we had met at an event, now our group hosts every year. We always like to go to either a private island or a beach resort for a weekend. People from all over the world will get together and really talk about high-level concepts in business, in life, family, relationships, and actually find ways that we can build together, right? Because you ever heard the term, you are who you hang around, right? Your network is your net worth. So intentionally, we get together to spend time with each other so that we can all become the best version of ourselves and our families. And so it makes sense that I was able to find an incredible lady at an event like that. And I, always imagined that I'd some way, somehow find a girlfriend and eventually find a wife. Man, I prayed and prayed and prayed when I was in high school for a long time for a partner like this. And when it didn't happen, I was like, man, what am I praying for? But because I've been able to change myself, be able to become the type of person that's able to be confident and expressive, obviously a woman like this would want to be with me, right? So we met on the beach, beautiful scene. Imagine the sunset, right? By the campfire.
Was it the sunset?
Just imagine sunset.
It wasn't.
Just imagine it though. Imagine sunset, campfire, right? Around all your friends.
Couples always have different story on how they met.
around your friends, and you walk up to the most beautiful lady in the scene. You start talking to her and explaining and convincing her as to why she should be with you. So obviously, says something that worked. Okay, so that's why we're here together now. Okay, couples have different stories. I remember a sunset, beautiful ocean view, but let's hear her side of the story.
Okay. So when it comes to my story, born and raised in Cameroon, Africa. Cameroon is in Central Africa. I moved to Germany when I was 18 or 19. Yeah, I was 19. I went there to further my education, and I spent like 8 years in Germany. I studied mechanical engineering. So for me, it started when I was either 21 or something like that. And I remember one day my brother called me and we were on the phone chatting, and he asked me a question that got me really mad. I was mad at him. He asked me the question of, do you want to be a slave or do you want to be a master? So I'm translating this in English, but I don't say he said a master, or maybe he said, do you want to be a slave or the boss? Something like that. And I was like, why would you ask me such a question? It's like, yeah, if you continue and then you get a job, that's what it's gonna be. And I was so mad at him. I was pissed. I was like, how dare you say that people that have a job are slaves? I was really pissed at him. I was like, you shouldn't say that they are slaves. And he was like, look, right now you're really triggered. So you're just gonna take your time, think about it, and we will talk about it later on. So I was like, okay, but I was like, I'm gonna prove you wrong. But guess what? I slowly, when I was thinking about it, realized that he is right, in a sense that the way I was brought up, I always saw my mom, in a sense, having a direction on her time because she is an entrepreneur. And unconsciously, I always envisioned my life like that, but I didn't know. Because imagine that person having that life where my own mom is like, she has her small business, she has different small stuff where she's not I'm just going to say it, she's not a successful entrepreneur, but she's still an entrepreneur in the sense that the part where, as that you can actually decide what you do with your time, she has that. And so unconsciously, I always knew I will have that when I grow up. But then imagine you having that person telling you go to school and get a job. So you get there, you're like, okay, mom, I'm gonna go to school and get a job, even though she's not doing that, but she's telling me I should do that, So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to school. It's so weird. The more I was at university and I was being around people that were doing the job that I was intending to do when I'm done with university, I look at their life and I was like, I don't want that. I don't want a life where it's almost like, that Friday where you're like, finally it's Friday, and Sunday they all complain. I was like, I don't want that life. And also I had a job at the time and I hated my weekends because it was like that where I didn't have a say. You come at this time, you have lunch at this time, and you go back home at this time. But I like the university lifestyle in the sense that you decide if I want to go to a lesson or not. I'm like, I'm not going. It's literally you decide. Of course, there are some that are strict where you have to be there, but generally, people don't care if you are there or not. At the end of the day, they just want you to pass the test or not. So the more I was thinking, I was just like, this is not for me. But still, I didn't make the connection of this is going to be your life. Consciously, it was like mine's going to be different. It's almost like you think you're going to end up having the job, but then your boss is going to be like, you do what you want, do as you please. So it was like that. But then at some point, people around me start having kids. And I will see a pattern of them bringing their kids to daycare when they are like 3 months old, 7 months old, a year. And I will be shocked. I will be like, why? Why would you take like a small baby, a 3 months old, to a stranger? That doesn't make sense. But then I remember something that I'm very grateful of that I am is I told myself, look, those people are in your circle. So if they are doing this, you're going to end up doing the same thing. because you are not special. I'm sorry to bring that to you. You're not special, Sandra. It's not like when your turn is going to come, yours is going to be different. Do you know why? Because we were doing the same thing. It's like the university, the same thing. We're studying the same thing. The partner they are having, it was the type of boyfriend I would have at the time, where they are also going to school to get a degree, to get a job, and that job. Yeah. So anyway, when I asked them the question to those mom of why are you sending your baby, literally a baby, to daycare, and I wanted to see if they are doing it because they want to, or is there any other reason? And 10 out of 10, they were like, I don't like doing this. It breaks my heart to bring my baby to a stranger. But the thing is, what my partner, husband, boyfriend brings is not enough for us to live and for me to be with my baby. I was like, so that's the problem. So in that moment, I was like, okay, what if I try to do something from home so that when I give birth, I will have my 9 to 5, but at the same time, I will have something going on at home where I will quit my 9 to 5. And you know, in Europe, when you quit your 9 to 5, you still have income. But slowly after a year, they are like, no, or after a year and a half, something like that. But at the beginning, they still pay you like, I think half or something like that. So my plan was, okay, I'm going to quit the job. The plan was finish university, get a job, get married, have kids. When I'm having kids, then I would be like, I would need a maternity leave. Yeah, maternity leave, not quit the job, maternity leave. And I would then, since I have something doing from home, I will use that income to also support the family, in a sense that I will not have to either give my baby to someone else while I go or stay at my workplace. Does it make sense? So that was the reason why I started also saying that my brother was right, that I can function in a 9 to 5. And like I was also saying, when I was having those jobs, I hated it. Like from my power, like it was the worst. Like that moment where the ringtone of your phone is like tididing, tididing. Oh, I wanted to squeeze. I wanted to push that thing. So that's one reason. The second reason is, like I said, thinking about the fact that I wanted to be with my kids. At that time, I was like, I want to be with my kid until they're at least 5 years old. Because at that time, I was still thinking, I'm going to send them to school, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, at least they should be around me until they're 5. So me thinking of doing a business from home, that's going to bring some money, so that I don't have to. Because don't think in your head, those people are struggling like that. But I could have said, my husband is going to be rich. And I'm not gonna have to send them to daycare. But like I said, your environment show what type of people you can meet. Meaning I would just end up with a husband who also have a 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. That the income wouldn't be enough to sustain us, and then I will have to be forced to go and work even though I want to be with my kids. So those are the two reasons why I slowly decided to find something that I can do from home. And at that time I was sewing, so I was sew stuff here and there. I also saw wedding dresses where I would make money here and there. And so I was like, I'm going to perfectionate that skill so that when I take the maternity leave from home, I will be able to still sew and have clients, bring some income home. But at least my baby is next to me, with the needle and stuff. That was the plan. But then I'm not going to go into detail. Maybe we can do that in another video. If not, this one is going to be too long. But in a process, I think it's very important that I share that. So I'm going to share it here, even if it takes time. You're going to sit and listen.
Story time.
Take a tea. So also I shared that at some point I didn't want to have kids. It was just because I knew deep down if I have kids, I'm going to screw them up. Because I wasn't disciplined. Like, let's be honest. Right now, if you look at your life, your habits, are you satisfied with them? If not, just know that if you have a kid, they're going to be the same right? So I was just like, I can't be disciplined. When I make a schedule, I don't honor it, stuff like that. And I was like, how am I going to support a kid if I can't even support myself? How come I'm going to school to become a mechanical engineer, and I got my degree when I was 26. So 26 years of my life learning and training myself to be this pre-K, primary school, high school, college, everything. But then nobody ever taught me how to be a parent. So I was like, no, I'm not going to be a parent. But then I quickly realized I actually want to be a mom. So I was like, I just sat down with myself and did like mad. I was like, okay, don't want to have kid, want to have kid. Why don't I want to have kid? It's because I know I'm gonna screw them up. So I'm like, okay, what can I do so I don't screw them up? I was like, I need to also be trained on how to be a parent. Like the same way you're trained to be a doctor, you're trained to be a nurse, you're trained to be a lawyer. You also need to be trained to be a parent. And now there's a big difference too in terms of, in the system, you can be trained to be something, you go and memorize and you have the credential, but you end up not knowing anything. But with parenting, you can't lie. Your kid will be the reflection of your parenting. You can't lie to yourself that I'm a good parent, but then when you look at your kids, you see what they lack. So I was like, I need a training. So I think 2026, my brother, one day we called each other, we were talking. It's like I think it was in Mexico, and a gene event in Mexico, and he met a group of people. It's like, I met a group of people. I've joined a group. It's called Self-Affected. I was like, what's that? And before he even shared that with me, I was telling him how we need to improve Africa, the condition there. We need to I was just telling him that I feel like I need to do something to make Africa a better place. And he was like, oh, there's this group that I joined. I met them in Mexico, and their purpose is to he said this, their purpose is to create a world that's best for all. And in that moment, I was like, oh, they want to create a world that's best for all, and Africa is within the world. That means we have the same purpose. So I decided to join the group. And I've been having calls there. I've seen I liked it. And one day he called me. We were talking about something from the call. And he shared with me that, do you know that you can... I don't know the exact stuff he said, but he literally explained to me that, do you know that there's a way you can prepare to be a parent before you become a parent? I was like, how do you know? I was looking for this for a long time. I literally told him the whole story, that it's been maybe 4 or 3 years that I've been looking at books of how to prepare, and at that time I was more focused on how to make sure your kids are entrepreneurs, something like that. Mm-hmm. So I was like, yes, give it to me. So I joined this community. Amazing kid. Stability. The thing that struck me is how a kid can be stable. Those stuff that people say kids are troublesome, they tantrum, that's all they are. It's not true. Like literally, I was like, I want this. I'm ready, and I will use whatever you guys are talking about so I can prepare to be the best mom ever. So that's how I got the tools. 2021, that was March. I started using the tool, and guess what? I couldn't speak English at all. Like I could say good morning, good afternoon, stuff like that. Yeah. I started using the tool. 4 months after, I was able to make a whole video of English. It's in on this channel. You can check it out. One thing that I didn't even expect, when I was getting the tool, I didn't expect that when I was joining the community. The first thing in my mind was just preparing how to be parent. But then those are the stuff that unfold. The other thing is, at that time, I was writing my thesis, and I got the topic of my thesis March 2020. Every day I would wake up and try to write that thing. I couldn't. I didn't have the vocabulary. I was so stressed. And then you have to know that my visa was attached to it. And I was already told by the immigration service in Germany that you're going to send me back home because it's been 7 years that I've been studying, but I'm not done yet. So imagine the pressure on myself. Being a child that was sent by their parent, my parents used all their savings. They borrow money to send me to Germany. And here I am. I'm going to go back home empty-handed. Like, my life is messed. So imagine the pressure on yourself when the immigration service is behind you. The same time, even your own self, you of course you want to be done with school. Of course you want that degree. But I will open the topic and how to. I will be lost. I will be like, where do I start? What do I do? So I will keep procrastinating on it, even though I had that pressure with the immigration service, just to tell you how inadequate I was when it comes to the topic and how to write a proper thesis. So when I got the tool, March 2021, remember, I got the topic of my thesis March 2020. After a year, I wasn't even done with the introduction. I got the tool, and 5 months after, I was done with my thesis. I defended my thesis and I had the best grade. In 5 months, I was able to do what I wasn't even able to do in a year. So after that, I just imagine at that point, I was already speaking English. I was done with my thesis. The best grade ever. I was just like, if I don't share this tool with the world, then I am the most selfish person that ever existed. And especially at that time, I was thinking about Black people in the sense that this system, like we said at the beginning of this video, if you think Black people are oppressed, this is not for you, in the sense that you just create victim. But I don't want any Black people to see themselves as the victim. You are powerful and you have the key to change your life within your hand by taking self-responsibility. So I was like, we need this the most. So really having that result in a short amount of time in my life, like I said, it would be selfish of me to not share it with the world. And at that time I was just like, I need every kid in Africa to have this technology to be able to guarantee their future because of the state where Africa is right now. And I can say today that it was a limited way of thinking. Just Africa, the world, because we are one. And then I decided to share this tool in a way. That's why I decided to go to the event where I met this guy. Yeah.
During that sunset, right?
Yeah, that was it. Okay, now let me tell you my version of that story. It was during the day. It was like maybe 12 p.m. It was, how can you have a sunset at 12 p.m., guys? And then he comes to me and say, hi, or he say, how are you doing? I'm like, yeah, I'm great. And you? And do you know what this guy said? What did you say?
I'm doing pretty well myself. I appreciate you asking. Nobody ever asks anything, you know what I mean?
Is that true? And you know, the funny thing is people usually laugh when he does that. You like, maybe you say 99% of the time.
People, they'll agree.
Yeah, they'll agree and they will laugh. But I'm like, what do you mean nobody asks that anymore? For me, I'm like, everybody asks that. Even though some don't even mean it. They don't actually ask it to know how you are doing. Yeah, that's true. But everybody asks that. So I was like, what is this weird dudes asking me, saying this type of stuff? Anyway, so that's how our first encounter.
Yeah, that was our first encounter. Actually, yeah, it was on the beach during the day.
Yeah, it was on the beach. That I agree. But sunset, no.
I had just landed.
Yeah, exactly. You know, without your trouser.
Bent. right. And over the course of the event, we went on a date, right? Got some amazing tacos.
You like that?
Those are some very good tacos. I
don't like that.
Obviously, now she makes the best tacos in the world, right? You guys gotta try her tacos. If you're ever in town, come by, visit us. Those of you who are around here.
But do you know the thing is funny that I don't think the tacos I've made in Jersey City, I don't think I've made that tacos yet.
All the tacos. To me, tacos she makes are brilliant. So don't matter. Anyway, so we met over lunch, got some tacos during the event. Some of the best tacos that I've had. I'm a pretty picky person about tacos.
Yeah, right? They weren't that great.
But regardless, we sat down and just talked about vision, right? Talked about what it is that she wanted for her life, how she wanted her life to play out, her plans, her ideas, what she wanted to accomplish, how she wanted her family to be, how she wanted to live, where she wanted to live, and obviously why. And I also shared my perspective, my story, but also my vision of where I wanted to take my life, who I wanted to be, who I wanted to be surrounded with, and what I wanted to do in this world with this one life that I have. And they align, right? What she was looking for and wanted to create was similar to what I was looking for and what I wanted to create. So naturally, it only made sense that we should be together.
So what did you ask me?
As bold as I am, I said, said, "Can I welcome you to the family?"
No, what the sentence you said before that, you said yours, I realized that your vision.
Realize that your vision and my vision are aligned. So, can I welcome you to the family?
Literally.
First date.
I was like, what?
Right? First date, asked her to be with me. And she said, "Let me think about it." Right? Let me think about it. If you've done business, if you heard that term, man, you might be having some trauma. But since I've been working on myself, right, I've been using the tools, using my process to be able to be the type of person that a woman like this would want. I had no fear, right? I knew that I could get this girl in my life. So the event continued, and now we had it was the last night, like a Sunday night. Right?
It was for you the last night because I was leaving on Tuesday, but you were leaving on Sunday.
Right, so it was my last night, and picture this: you have 6 hours left before you have to catch your flight back home back to Jersey, across the country. And if you leave without getting the girl, she'd go all the way back to Germany, right, back across the world. So I had to make moves. I had to reapproach her and continue the conversation and see, did she actually think about it? And during that we met up for a while.
When someone said they're gonna think about it, it's like days, weeks.
Typically, right? Or they're just saying that. They don't actually think about it, right? But again, I knew that we would be amazing together. I saw a vision. I saw a purpose, right? And so I decided, okay, let's make this work. So I approached her again. It was dark by the campfire on the beach, and said, "Hey, let's go for a walk," right? Just told her we're going for a walk. And during that walk, again, had to continue sharing my vision, sharing what I can do, what we could do together to actually fulfill her vision, right? And what she was looking for in the world. And now, a few years later, here we are with an agreement, right? We got together based on principles, not based off of the energy of love, the energy of
the feelings,
the feelings of love. It was based on a platform of, okay, we have a common vision. We have a common mission, and
what do we want to do together? Yeah,
that's why we're together. What can we build together? Right? And I've been so grateful that we built our relationship off of an agreement of, okay, this is what we're going to do, and this is the plan, so that whenever we do come up in stressful times or arguments, we can always fall back on that agreement and understand, hey, this wasn't built off I like you, you like me. Even though we do, this was built off of what is the plan, what is the vision, right? And approaching our relationship like that, so that we have that stability and that grounding. And that came from seeing other people in our community also build their relationship of agreements and how far they've come in such a short period of time, right? So again,
to have long, forever lasting relationships. Or the best word is actually agreement. So forever lasting agreement. So what's the first principle? First agreement.
First agreement is to do what is best for all.
Yeah, to create a new system that's best for all. So that's the reason why we are together. So together create what that's best for all. And within that we have it's a team, right? Like we are a team. And this is the goal.
It's in education, because when you think about it, that is the biggest problem that we're facing in the world today, right? So for us to tackle the biggest problem, we're also going to get the biggest rewards, right? And part of that reward is being able to go out every single day, meet different people, meet different families, and really just change the trajectory of their life because of being introduced to a better, unique, and fundamentally best way to learn.
Exactly.
Right?
And that is based, the education we are talking about is based on the technology we share with families. It's the only way. Go argue with your mama, but this technology we have and are sharing with the world is the only way to guarantee an equal, optimum, amazing education for every human being. So that tool is there, and then the larger part is now to share it with the world so that we can have an amazing education. And when everybody is going to have an amazing education, we are going to be able together create a system that's going to support everybody in their best optimum potential, instead of having a system right now. It's literally you are a number and it's just profit. What is going to make us profit? Then we don't care if someone is going to die, animals are going to die, people are going to suffer, people are not going to have water. The system right now doesn't care. As long as something is going to bring benefit, profit, the system's like, great. And if you tell the system, look, but those people are going to die if you do that. Those people are going to not have drinking water. The system's like, and then you may think, I don't care, it doesn't affect me. It does. That's why you are depressed. That's why, everything right now that's happening into your life where you feel that it's the system that deep down is coming next. You are next. It's like, if we don't change the system, we are all doomed. All of us. It's all of us or none of us. Like, he's out there, he's like our eyes in the world, and then I'm here to create a space where we can then relax, feel great. Within that, of course, like you said, I will be in a sense like a primary educator of our kid, even though we are both, of course. But within a team, you always have to be like, who does what? It doesn't mean you do it on your own. Like, when it comes to also providing that sense, me doing this part support that other part, and him doing that part support me, like he said, of me being able to do the other part. So one aspect of it is being that life engineer that takes care of the home, that is going to, and I think we can now talk about that agreement of we agreed on educating. You can talk about that.
Yeah, agreed on educating our children at home. Right. Yeah. And it's not homeschool per se.
Yeah.
Right. Because many times homeschool can just be bringing the school back to the home. Right. We're educating at home. Right. And what that looks like is being able to provide a real education. Real education is not just memorizing a bunch of facts, a bunch of formulas, right? A bunch of dates to go and take a test, and then you take the test. Even if you do well on the test, how much did you actually remember?
Yeah. And how much of it can you actually apply in a real physical life? Yeah.
Real education is being able to support a child to become a responsible adult.
Yeah.
Right? To be able to navigate their way through the world, through society, through the system, even when mom and dad are not around anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
And the funny thing is, people don't realize that education includes stability, thinking critically, being able to create stuff. People just think about education as, unfortunately, for some people, education is school, and school means you're gonna get a job, and then the rest is like, you figure it out. Yeah. So education is life. Like, can you first of all, maintain the innocence of that child, and then from there, support them to be effective human beings that are going to have the purpose of creating a world that's best for all. Because if we don't have that purpose, what are we here for? Yeah, what you are here to make money, have kids, having a big property, then what? Like, if we don't create an environment that's best for all, even though you're gonna have your money, you're still gonna have that moment of this doesn't matter. And
you'll still be in fear because even though you're set, you're good, your family is okay, there's people out there that do not have, right? And their whole goal is to have. And if you have and they don't, where are they going to get it from? Only from you, right? So even if you feel like, okay, I'm set, I'm good, you will always still in the back of your mind have a fear because other people will be looking towards you, coming for you. But when we can create a system, a society where everybody has what they need, we won't need to look toward others to get what they have. We have everything that we need for ourselves, right? And of course, if you want to do more, there's always the opportunity, right? But at the very most, having your basic needs met and having my basic needs met so that we can fulfill our utmost potential and be stable.
Yeah, and I would like you to expand more on, you were sharing with me earlier about there's only one truth, not everyone can have their truth, something like that.
Yeah, there's only
like,
the
for example,
truth.
Is in the sense of, for example, if you tell someone we have to create a world that's best for all, they're gonna be like, that's your truth.
Yeah, I want to speak it on like the perspective of purpose, we can say, right? Everyone right now thinks that they have each their own purpose, right? Your purpose may be to make sure your family is safe and secure, right? They have everything they need. Another person's purpose, they could say, is to build the best tech company on the West Coast, right? And they're following those drives as their purpose. Well, I like to dispel that myth, right? Because everybody's purpose is actually the same, right? There's no, I have my thing, you have your thing. We all have the same thing. And to make that more clear to you, imagine you were a tree, okay? In nature, does a tree that's living in California have a different purpose than a tree that grows in New York? No. The purpose of the tree is to bear fruit, right?
Yeah,
and
give
to
oxygen.
give oxygen,
Yeah.
right? That is what a tree does. It gives.
Yeah, it's like saying, and we think that someone can go more even further. But like there are some trees they don't produce fruit, but that baseline of giving back oxygen is their baseline. And no matter where they are, every plant tree, they are like, this is my purpose and I must fulfill it.
Right.
Now some of them are able to do that and then produce fruit, but you cannot be a mango and then be like, oh, I don't like producing mango. Today I'm gonna produce lemon. See, the mango is like, I'm gonna do my purpose, which is giving back mango. So imagine us as human beings saying, I have my purpose, you have your purpose. Meanwhile, we live in the same world. If you have yours, I have mine, then we are not making sure this world makes sense. And in that same thinking, what if the tree one day said, I don't want to give oxygen anymore, I want to take it?
Then you would start suffocating, right? And you would die because the tree just decided, I have a different purpose.
Yeah.
Right? Than what it was planted for.
Exactly.
Right? So if nature operated like that, we wouldn't survive. We'd be very angry. And so now put that back into how we are operating as humans. We are also a part of nature, right? But as humans, since we have the ability to communicate through words and create tools, we have more responsibility.
Yeah.
That doesn't make us more than
the tree.
Nature,
yeah.
right? But we just have more responsibility to take on because
I really like that, babe. Really like more power, more responsibility. Actually, it's not the reverse of more power mean more. I abuse more. That's so cool. Yeah.
Right. And so that responsibility fundamentally is to do what is best for everybody.
Because
right?
doing what's best for everybody is also doing what's best for you.
It's also what's best
if
for you.
we don't do what's best for everybody, it's gonna come back to you one day. One day, what you did that were good for you but not for someone else, it's gonna affect you. And sometimes I like to say to people, if every parent don't educate their kid in what's best for all, guess who your kids are gonna hang out with? Those kids. And then guess who amongst those kids are gonna be president one day? Those kids that you were like, I don't care how the neighbor educate her kid. You don't care, but that kid can be the next president. And by being the next president, that president is gonna make decision that's gonna affect your kids. That neighbor or kids that have a shitty education might be the next manager of your kids. How are they going to treat your kids? That person can be your next midwife or whatever. So you can't live in a society where you're like, I don't care what people do. You do what you want. Do what as do. Because you're going to interact with them. You're going to get a service from them. Imagine if you're like, I don't care how farmers grow food. You're going to eat that food. So how come you can say, I don't care how they grow the food? I don't care how they raise the meat. You're going to eat that meat. It's going to affect you. It's going to affect your health, your mental health, everything that you are as a being. So that's why knowing that doing what's best for all is also ultimately doing what's best for yourself.
Absolutely. And the thing to also consider is that your purpose is to do what's best for all, right? That doesn't mean we're all doing the same thing.
Exactly.
You can have a different expression as towards
just like
best, right?
Just like
there's different trees, right?
Yeah, mango, lemon, they have the baseline the same, but the way they do that is different. Yeah. The expression of your purpose can be different from one another. So this is what we are. If you're still watching, then you are the real MVP in the sense that we really took our times today to share who we are, what we stand for, because for us it's really important for us to build a community of like-minded people. So that's why we in a sense we want to bring and resonate with people that also see this and they are like, this makes sense. We don't want people like you say community or subscriber. We don't want to call this subscriber like community in the sense that everybody here is like, okay, I see that I need to take self-responsibility and I want to participate in that purpose in this way. And I see why and I understand this. So we don't want people around that don't see this and don't understand this, and you're just watching for show purposes or like a show.
Entertainment.
Exactly. Thank you for the entertainment. We are not here to entertain you.
If you're a man, you're still listening to this, and you're the type of person that, you want to build a life worth living and sharing with somebody else, right? To have a long-lasting relationship, an amazing wife who cooks amazing food, right? That raises amazing children. If that's what you want, but also having a business that takes care of your family, so that you, at a certain point, the business will take care of you. If that's who you are, right? Let's have a conversation. Let's sit down, talk about, what it is that you can do to support yourself, to start thinking in those terms. Because it's one thing to, want to build a business. It's one thing to know that that's the way. But it's another thing to have, again, the education on how to do that in a sustainable way, right? And that's the purpose of this all, right? Or if you want a wife that thinks like my wife, right? Very smart, charismatic, elegant, right? But also has the same values of wanting to educate their children at home, so they're not being taken by the system, right? Also reach out, right? Hundreds of people that we can connect you with or support you with to be able to get what you're looking for. It all starts with a conversation, right? 10, 15 minutes, wherever it goes.
Let's talk. Reach out. If you're a lady, you're also looking for a man who values everything we shared today, then you are the right place. By you joining our community, but before you join, you have to reach out so we see if you're actually serious. You have to be serious. Now, do you get... If you're not serious, please don't waste my husband's time.
You gotta be qualified. You gotta answer a couple questions properly.
That's because
password.
I almost wanted to speak French. Like, there's no time. Like, don't waste your time. If you're not serious, don't waste our time. We're not here to waste time. So if you're serious, you're a lady, you're serious, you're a man, you're serious, you want a partner that have similar like-minded. It's not that we are the same, but like having a like-minded community where you can find that partner to really build on. You are welcome. You're welcome to reach out to my husband.
Okay, awesome. All the information to contact us is below, as usual. Again, we're looking forward to talking to you soon. This has been an amazing time. Jude, Poku, Sandra, Poku, welcome to the family.
Yeah, and don't forget to subscribe. And I think our newsletter is on the description down below. You can also subscribe to the newsletter and get the gist of the background of everything. Okay. So, see you
soon.